Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another Trap or Die podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Die podcast, Mual and AJ. A couple things have changed on this episode. We did have Arabia scheduled to join us. She goes by All 32 NFL on Twitter and Instagram. Dre was with us, and then we had some technical issues on his side. So it's a two-man show today. We're gonna be in and out. Let's try and get a healthy discussion of this post-game recap, aka this ass whooping that the Washington Commanders just handed out on the Cleveland Browns, 34-13. Basically, honestly, was a shutout up until the last, one of the last possessions of the game for Cleveland. In terms of the end zone, I know they scored a couple field goals. Before we get into the game, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure the subscribe button if you're tapping in live on YouTube. It's always appreciated. Audio side, hit that follow button. Hit that the rating and review if you got time to do so. It's free. You know, and it's easy to show your support that way. Everybody that's tapping in on Twitter, Twitch, appreciate y'all joining as well. And there we go. AJ, what's going on with you, player? How you feeling, dog?
I'm good, man. Just another Sunday of football. You know, Washington ended up with a dub. They already accomplished 4 wins. Going into the first, this is the first game of October they played?
Yeah, first game of October.
So last year they finished the entire season with 4 wins. So I think I'm pretty close to my prediction for their record. Yeah, definitely a solid game. Great for them to get this momentum. I think they're on a 4-game winning streak.
4-game winning streak, yeah.
Yeah, something we haven't been able to say in a minute.
Literally, it's the first time in I think 15 years. If my math is right, it's basically since the 2008 season, Jim Zorn, where they went 4-1. I think they got as high as 5-1 or something like that. But yeah, Jim Zorn era. That's a throwback for your ass. So they've accomplished that. This is also the first time since 2005 the Commanders have put up 30 plus points in 3 consecutive games. So and then also another record. Let me see if I saved this one. Actually, a couple. Oh my goodness. So from Jordan Schultz, no player in NFL history has ever had 1,000 passing yards and 250 rushing yards in their first 5 career games until Jaden Daniels. So that's him. And then there was another one. I think it was 3 consecutive games with 3+ rushing touchdowns. I think that's what I saw, and I gotta double check that. I'm gonna check Washington Commanders PR because that's where I think I saw it. But yeah, they're breaking records out there. Anyway, point being, Washington moves to 4-1. They start off a little slow. AJ, offensively, they had some issues. Cleveland was playing them pretty aggressively in terms of just sticking to the receivers outside, and then also the offensive line had some early issues up front. And then the dam ultimately broke loose later down the line. Point being, they couldn't contain Jaden Daniels. They couldn't contain Frankie Louvu on the other side of the ball. Those two were game wreckers. Jaden Daniels was a true dual threat today. He was able to make them pay with his legs, able to make them pay through the air. They broke the game open initially with the 66-yarder to Terry. I think that was also the drive, though. Unfortunately, Jaden threw the pick, but it just got the defense to back off a little bit. Ultimately, that was kind of one way to look at it. Even though you do want points, and that could have been one of the instances where you're talking about another 40-point game. But anyway, I think that's kind of my initial impressions. It's just like at one point, they just couldn't. The Cleveland Browns just really couldn't have a stranglehold on Jaden. And that interior pass rush for the Washington Commanders, more specifically Frankie Louvu, he just wreaked havoc on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think truly today for the first half of the game, especially early on in the first half, I think that the players, especially with Jaden Daniels, was overcoming the bad play calling by Cliff Kingsbury. I truly believe that Jim Shorts was out coaching him, primarily in that first half. Like it was unnecessary things, especially coming into a game where the Browns haven't had a stout running defense. Was a lack of running. I think at one point I remember they had 72 rushing yards, but the person with the most rushing attempts was Jaden Daniels. He had like 5, whereas like Eckler maybe had like 3 or 4, and B Rob had like 2, and Nichols had 1. I just wasn't quite sure where he was going with today's game plan. I think he put Jaden in a lot of positions to be uncomfortable. That's why you see him be off in certain possessions. But ultimately, one of the plays where he overcame, the play calling was getting outside of the pocket and throwing that ball downfield to Terry McLaurin and keeping his eyes downfield. But ultimately, that ended up resulting to a turnover in the red zone. And I think that was more so, once again, not really running the ball to kind of get these guys on the Browns defense off target. I mean, as we could see, and unfortunately, he's not on the team. Instead, Washington has had to deal with having Jamin Davis, but JOK is no JOKE. He is a baller. Like he was around the ball all the time. Hell of an interception that he made in the red zone. But ultimately, man, the Cleveland Browns are a shit show of an offense. Um,
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna
to
be that bad, bro.
to
Like
to have yeah,
I don't even think they had 100 passing yards when they took D Watt out.
bro, to have that much talent on that side of the ball, from offensive line to wide receiver to tight end, and not be able to produce an effective offense or even score points is abysmal. I really don't know who's to truly blame 100% because I'm not watching a bunch of Browns games, but boy, this was a terrible offense. And, even though they're a terrible offense, the defense still had to play amazing ball. And they were able to get after Deshaun Watson, make him very uncomfortable. And Frankie Louvu, who was, hitting his little 360 spins in the A gap on certain downs. He had a hell of a day. Bobby Wagner had a hell of a day. The whole front had a hell of a day. They were able to create a
7
turnover.
sacks.
Yeah, 7 sacks. They should have had even more interceptions. Oh well, more interceptions, but Quan Martin definitely dropped one. So whatever their fine is for dropping interceptions, he's definitely gonna have to put some in the pool for that. But yeah, it was a solid game, man. Just fortunate for them, they were able to overcome some things, but the defense played amazing. I guess Joe Witt Jr. does know his group, as he told us. Like he felt like they were around the corner, and streamlining some of that communication. They seem to be playing more as a unit and as a collective. Yeah, you really can't say too much bad about the game, but I guess where I'm looking is just forward to Baltimore, just seeing how they do in that matchup.
So let me read off some of these things. Now that I got the list of accolades in front of me. So bear with me for it. There's a couple of them. Jaden Daniels, I said this one already, but just reiterating from the Commanders PR. Jaden Daniels is the first NFL player in NFL history to have 1,000+ passing yards and 250+ rushing yards in their first 5 career games. Terry McLaurin has reached 400 career receptions. That makes him among the top 3, with Santana Moss and Gary Clark as the only players to register 400+ receptions in their first 6 seasons with Washington. Washington scored the 30+ points game in 3 consecutive games for the first time, for the 8th time in franchise history and the first time since 2005. Washington has recorded 3 rushing touchdowns in 3 consecutive games for the first time in franchise history. Washington is the second team in NFL history to have at least 3 rushing touchdowns in 4 of their first 5 games of the season, joining the 1954 San Francisco 49ers. And then another one, Washington is the first team since 1970 to score 150+ points in their first 5 games while starting a rookie quarterback. Man, this offense is humming, bro. And I wanted to let you get your point off, and I don't necessarily know if I completely disagree with everything you said about Cliff. Like the way that this offense was moving or they operated was a little different from their previous games, right? You did have 34 rushing attempts. A good portion of those came in when they took Jaden out and they took the starters out, because Jerry McNichols saw about 5 of those carries. Marcus Mariota had a couple carries as well. But B-Rob, Austin Eckler combined for 13 carries. So that's kind of not part of the, what's the word that they said, like the 30-30 thing, or whatever that balance term that Dan Quinn called it. So I do think that was unique compared to like how they typically play these games. I also want to know, like, I think that Jim Schwartz, to your point, was like, I mean, he's a good coordinator, and I think Cliff was in a battle in that first quarter. I think they opened it up in the second quarter. I think it was a combination of the players executing, but also like Cliff getting these guys in some good looks. But yeah, like Jaden took off, like literally and figuratively. He took off, and I don't even think they looked back after that. That second quarter, they put up what? I think 21 points. I'm about to double check. 17 points. 17 points in that second quarter. I don't know what would have happened when they came out. Like Terry fumbled the ball. He got smacked on that reverse. Though he did get the peanut punch fumble, but he did get smacked on that reverse. That led to nothing. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's crazy that you can sit here and look at this offense and say like there were some moments where they started out the gate where they struggled, and then still was a team that finished with 400 yards and 30+ points. I think that's a testament to, one, the players that they do have on the roster, but also like the second half where things were just as efficient, like how dangerous it could get, even if Cliff does have a slow start. So I do want to kind of notate that, like that was interesting to see. This is the Cleveland Browns, and I think one of the bigger things that we had to think about with these guys is just that they were inconsistent on defense. And I don't want to take away the fact that, like, I was one of the people who said that, well, first of all, I said that they were inconsistent, but I also said that this was a letdown spot, right? Now that they'll lose, because I picked them to win. That's everybody that was hitting me up on Twitter. If you don't watch the show and only follow me on Twitter, That sucks for you because I did pick us to win. But I think that this is one of those moments where you look at Washington's offense, and I don't know if they were going to be able to expect or handle the pressure and just the aggressive nature that the Cleveland Browns presents defensively. And ultimately they took over the game as time moved on. The Commanders offense did. So I think that was kind of impressive too. Jay Tyler said he didn't hear Myles Garrett name once. I was going to say the same thing. I didn't hear not many people take over. The only person I really heard consistently was JOK, who had a hell of a game, in my opinion, from just being around the football, but also making plays when the ball was in the air as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they did a great job of taking Myles Garrett out of the game. But of course, once you get that high up in the score, you know, pretty much Myles Garrett's trying to preserve himself, I guess, at that point, with already playing with an injury. So
that's true.
Yeah, man. I think it was a great win because at the end of the day, you want to continue to build on the momentum. Some people like yourself called it a trap game. Well, they definitely trap or dive today, and they got that dub, and now 4-1 heading against the Baltimore Ravens for the Battle of the Beltway coming up next week.
So I see you. Let me read some of the comments, matter of fact, and then we can get to our one sentence takeaways. Philip, appreciate you checking. He said this team is special. Hawk said I never thought Jim Zorn had a streak going like that. Nice response for sure to the red zone interception. Mark said I was at the game. We brought home the W. Where we at? I would have loved to see Terry catch that fade pass, by the way.
Man, he gotta learn how to catch better without using his body, dog. Like almost every catch is a body catch, bro. Like it's so annoying. Like that was a beautiful pass.
Yeah,
bro.
that was a dot.
Like
bro.
that's 6.
The first series is bad, and Jaden making bad reads on the read option, but Cliff called a good game. Frankie Louvu set the tone with his play on defense. No way that the Giants fumble. Oh, Lord Jesus. Didn't hear Garrett's name once. JOK and Bush. All right, let's go ahead and get to Underdog Fantasy, and let's talk about the one sentence takeaways. All right, let's take a break from the show right quick, and let me tell you something about Underdog Fantasy. It is the greatest time of the year because football is back, and it's here to stay till February. You can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, such as touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Peep that touchdown saying, right? If you're a Commanders fan, Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, you're looking like money. You can make that entry on Underdog Fantasy, choose higher on their touchdown total, get you some bread. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over Underdog's simple to use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code TrapperDive, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code TrapperDive to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and New England, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call 24/7 HOPEline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. So if y'all took that B-Rob ad of mine, y'all probably came up because your boy done scored another tutty today. Keep that in mind. One last note, statistic, and then let's get into the one sentence takeaways. Jaden Daniels faced 4 unblocked pressures in the first half and converted all of those instances into a first down. He went 2 for 2 for 78 yards, and he had 2 scrambles for 36 yards on the ground. He generated a 13.5 EPA against unblocked pressures, the most by any QB in a game since 2018. That's according to Next Gen Stats. All right. 1 sentence takeaways. Let's see them. If you got them in the chat, let's go ahead and put them in there. And we can keep going. Slim Rob is really like that. Raise Hill. Dapper J, my man Jarrell. Even after a shaky start, we prevail. Chris Freeman, we took care of business today. Amani, defense led the way. Game ball to Joe Witt Jr. Greg, total domination. Solo, another win. Solo Kenny, another win with the offense, defense, and special teams. Shout out to Ola. Thank you, bro. Shout out to Olamide Zacchaeus. The punt return that punt return after I think the interception, if I'm not mistaken, got them into good position, good scoring range. I think he ended up breaking one. I think that one broke for what 20 something yards. Olamide is making an impact on special teams and in the passing game since he's been able to get some action. Obviously, Noah Brown was out today, so they kind of maneuvered how they did. I think. Let me see. Let me double check. He had an 18-yarder, an 18-yard return. Okay, let me continue. We had 2 turnovers, and Washington didn't give up and played hard all 4 quarters. If defense keeps the momentum, we will go far this year. My man Ned Stimson going to play meaningful football in January. Professor Ian Webb passed the trap game test with flying colors. And D Superman 25, we are becoming unfuckwittable. Raise hell. All right. Okay. So let's kind of close this with the defensive side of the ball. And obviously we talked on kind of like up front and how things worked out. And I don't know what things are going to look like with the secondary side as well, like moving forward, right? When we say just understanding the receivers and quarterbacks they'll continue to play. Deshaun Watson is not good, right? Point blank period. That offense right now is not playing good ball. Point blank period. But like if this defense can continually progress, we're at 4-1 right now. Obviously, a huge test comes up against the Baltimore Ravens, who are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL right now. And they have a number 1 rush defense in the NFL right now. They run the ball, they stop the run. That team, for example, is an instance of like how physical of a team are you, but defensively, like how seriously is this progression that we're seeing over the last 2 games and such, right? I'm very interested to see like what the ceiling is for this defense if Joe Witt Jr. has come to say that, you know, he's figuring out his pieces, which I don't disbelieve him. It's more so like I'm willing to see this thing through against like better opponents, not named Deshaun Watson, and then the Arizona Cardinals team who got mollywopped. But like I'm just interested in seeing how far this can go, because if they keep progressing, I don't know, like I don't think what we're seeing can really. You're looking like at a top 4 seed, maybe. Like you're competing for the division. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're already in first place still, but like you really are competing for the division.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where, you know, you ask our followers, you know, for their one-liner of the game. For me, is it retool or rebuild? Because if you're already at 4 wins going into the first game of October, the rest of your games are pretty much within proximity of home or home. I only say it that way because Baltimore Ravens are from what is the new field called? Fed Northwest, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's like what, maybe 30 minutes away. You pretty much are playing most of your games at home. You're playing the Panthers coming up. You're playing the or not retool, I mean recalibrate. So it was either rebuild or recalibrate, but you're playing the Ravens, the Panthers, the Bears, in your upcoming games. You know, if they can continue to build on this defense, like you're saying, and streamlining stuff and scoring and moving the ball effectively like they have, you have a top team in the NFC. Like, forget the division. You got a top team in the whole entire conference.
Yeah, I think that's kind
And
of
yes, Jay Tyler, for your information, they still should go get a damn wide receiver.
I was wondering if
You
you wasn't
happy?
going if you was going to get there, bro.
I was gonna wait. I was gonna wait until Tuesday because I something's gonna happen. So I still believe that they need to get a wide receiver because if I'm not mistaken, Noah Brown's injury is his hamstring,
Growing.
right? Groin. So if it's his groin, like that's something that could be lingering. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. Also, what's the status on Brian Robinson? Because he got hurt during the game.
Oh, he got hurt during the game. Was it the same injury that he was dealing with during the week?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what was going on with B-Rob. Yeah, when I was calling out his touches, I was like, that's not the norm for him.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I think he had like I can't remember how many carries, but I think he only ran for like 17 yards for the day.
Yeah, he had 7 carries. 7 carries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Where's I at? Oh, defensively. Yeah, I think that. Oh, sorry. Receivers, then back to the defense. I think it'll be interesting. I don't know what Noah Brown's situation is going to look like moving forward. I think the biggest thing with him is obviously dealing with, like, when you talk about his injuries, like, they linger like a long time. And it's not just, I mean, even with the growing part, like, he just has a problem staying healthy, period. Like, you can, if I had my notes in front of me, like, he misses a good percentage of games each season due to injury. That's kind of like a yearly thing. So we're gonna have to monitor that. Trade wise, you say Tuesday. Okay. Something
No,
shakes off this.
I was just saying I don't know what's gonna happen as far as like
Not related to the
connecting,
Washington.
but like
Yeah.
yeah, but I felt like even this morning, like if Devontae Adams truly wants to go to either the Jets or the Saints, he's a dumbass. I don't personally know him, but he's a dumbass. Like if you watch that Jets offense and that team and say, "Oh, I want to leave dysfunction for even more
No,
dysfunction
that
in a
team
bigger
sucks, bro.
market," you a dumbass, bro. And
That team sucks, bro.
you've already played with Carr before, and it didn't work in the
Yeah.
NFL.
Um. Yeah. Defensively, I think to this part, the front seven I think is kind of molding a little bit. They're gelling. Um. I think that's the most important thing. But like even I mean, this week you didn't have. It's so hard to kind of even give so much credit because it's like you're dealing with Deshaun Watson. And that's kind of the hard part when I think about this whole deal. Um, and I guess it's just a time will tell thing, especially like next week you're playing a more competent quarterback. So you got to see what those coverage breakdowns look like and what you can avoid. But I do think this is one of those teams. If you can find a way to marriage that pass rush with that secondary, who is sometimes like they're shaky. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you can kind of marriage the first level with that third and second and third level, yeah, I think I agree with you. Like we're talking about conference, top of the conference, competing for that level of accolades. I think is what I will say. Um, I am looking for quotes, and I am struggling to find quotes coming out of the game. Jaden. De'Ami Brown got involved. I'm not going to listen to everything he said, but De'Ami Brown made an appearance. Shout out to him. Jay Tizzy, I seen you in the chat talking about De'Ami can hoop. I wonder what that did for De'Ami fans, man. Just understanding he finally got some looks, bro.
He got his one touchdown out for the season.
Out for the season, and he
Yeah,
got busy on that next catch. I think what was it, like
he
11,
blew
12
me.
yards.
I don't know. I be getting annoyed by little stuff, dog. Man, he shuffled his feet like 8 times, bro. Like,
yeah,
make a move, bro. He just was dancing, but I mean, yeah, he got a touchdown. They're saying that Jaden Daniels is the one who called that play, pretty much called that shot to Cliff as he ran for the first down, kind of, or I don't know if it was a first down, but he ran by him after the play that he had on the scramble and told him like, let's take this shot. I mean, Martin Emerson has been bad this whole year, which is really surprising, but I mean, I can't even lie. When I seen that ball up in the air and I seen number 2 on the back of the jersey. I was like, man, I hope this boy don't drop this easy ass touchdown. But he made a play. Great connection. Help him build some momentum for himself. Because if Noah Brown can't play, a lot of these other guys are gonna have to step up to replace that production.
Yeah, I don't even know why we're talking about Devontae. Yeah, Luke was in the chat, by the way. I ain't talking about you, AJ. Romeo Dobbs, interesting name. Luke McCaffrey was backing his ass off. I think he was the reason he got the seal on who was it? B-Rob touchdown off rip. So that was interesting. Yeah, there's not many quotes coming out right now. Like it's been pretty slow. But I guess we can kind of end it there for today. I know it's kind of a short show, but things are going on in the real world for the game. So we're gonna put a pause right now. 4-1, 400 yards on the day. A nice defensive outing, 7 sacks, 1 turnover force.
Hey, hold on, Jay Tyler. What am I hating on when I'm telling the truth? Dami makes, or how should I say? I don't even know how they be saying his name wrong. How the other people be saying his name wrong. But yeah, like he made 1 touchdown in a season, and then everyone has like this great hope for him. Like every year, bro. Like coming into this season, he was supposed to be what Noah Brown has been doing, and we have yet to see that. But kudos to him for his touchdown today, man. Washington got a major win to keep the streak going. All right, Jay Tyler. Why would he drop the ball? Because that's what he does.
I don't even know what the conversation is right now, bro. Like
I know.
Good.
Let's wrap it up.
I know, and it's like I really don't get it. Like it's just like me when I talk about Cole Turner, bro. Like if you think about it, I only talk about Cole Turner when he got in the game, but he barely got in the game. If you make a play, congratulations. It ain't much else to say about it.
Like, hey man, you got a reason to go to Rose Bowl tonight. You feel me?
Hey, nah, that's funny as hell.
Six know you scored a touchdown.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll have Arabia back soon. I'm gonna figure that one out. She wasn't feeling good, so that was a last second cancel. It would have been cool to have her on. We'll try to spin the block on that. Dre will be back on Tuesday as well. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, man. Enjoy the rest of the games. Good luck if you are a gambler, and don't forget B-Rob Prop. Come on, man. Underdog Fantasy promo code Drop a Dive. Get it done. We out of here. Peace.